Hey there, Wes Dove with Dove Development and Consulting. So in just preparation for what you can expect over the next several days in a daily dose of leadership, I want to give you a little bit of a synopsis and break down what Cindy and I have experienced over the last week or so. We were at a number of different networking events this week and just ran into a bunch of different people that we have good relationships with, but a lot of new folks as well. And one of the things that rang true in almost every discussion we had was how people say, hey, so what's your target market? Who are you really trying to serve in what you do? And my goodness, that's a really broad question. And quite honestly, with what we do in effective communication and overall leadership development, that's wide. It's a lot of people. It can really be people in every different area. But our passion, one of our passions, is really the folks that move from that individual contributor role. Sometimes it's technical, sometimes it's in various fields, but it's always where that person that's the top performer as an individual contributor gets a promotion. They earn it because they've worked really, really hard, and they go into a role to where they're now a supervisor, a lead, a manager, whatever the title is. But now they've got responsibility for overseeing a bunch of people. In many cases, those people that they're overseeing were their peers. Maybe it's a different department that they're seeing, but they're still it's a new responsibility, and it's pulling them away from what they had been doing so well that earned them the promotion. And what we've realized is there's really just a handful of roadblocks that these folks run into. And in so many cases, the companies that they work with are fantastic companies, but those companies aren't necessarily equipped to deal with that piece of it, the people piece of it. And you've heard me talk about soft skills a little bit, and we're excited. I'll go into that in another message, but the piece that the companies do address really, really well is how to manage and oversee the metrics, how to supervise the processes and the procedures, what statistics to look for, what measurables that really need to be focused on to make sure the company's profitable. But what they don't have in place is often systems for these folks to get trained up, to develop these folks in how do we think differently? Because as folks in a new leadership role, and leadership is a key term. I don't want to confuse that with supervisory role or management role. But when you're overseeing people, there's a degree of responsibility for leading those people too. If you want to really get maximum performance and productivity for those folks that are new in that leadership role, they've got to think different. When I was in that role, when I was in an individual contributor role, when I was running a press in a manufacturing situation, I could just charge hell with a water pistol and work my tail off and get a lot done. But when I had a group of people, I couldn't always help them work as fast. And my natural inclination was to just charge forward and they'll catch up when they get there. Or once I get done, I can circle back. But that's not leadership thinking. That's individual contributor thinking, and as a leader, if we get too far ahead, we lose our people. And another piece is really, how do I interact with? How do I make sure my message is received and I'm not just speaking the way I need it to? So that's another major factor in how we oversee and lead a group of people that we're now responsible for when we make that transition. And a third and equally important piece that new supervisory folks that are responsible and really need to lead to get their best efforts and their best performance is, how do they keep growing? Because if they stop based on what they were doing really, really well, now they're in this new role. If they don't continue to grow and continue to push and figure out what's that plan for me to continue to move forward, if they're not continuing to grow, somebody's going to pass them and they're not going to be viewed as a leader, and it's going to affect their credibility, which in turn affects the performance and productivity of the team that they're responsible for. So those are some of the biggest roadblocks, and over the next couple days, I'm going to charge through those in a daily dose of leadership. And it's something that is critical for every one of us that make that move. And quite honestly, regardless of what level somebody is managing, supervising, or even leading at, those are pieces that it never hurts to circle back and make sure we're doing those effectively. So wherever you're at in your journey, wherever you're at and leading the people that you're responsible to, these next several messages are going to be critical. So I challenge you to listen, look into those, but think into how you can address those three things: the communication piece, the thinking piece, and the growth piece. With that said, we'll see you soon. Have a great day. God bless.